2007.
Finca Terra. It's different Gallego instead of Finca Terra. No. Anyway, this is
Devour.
sort of entry-level wine, but a good one. And as you can see, it's a beautiful sort of green gold, correct color, and very nice brilliant color. ¿Qué uva lleva?
Un 65% de treixadura.
Treixadura is the great native grape of Ribeiro, which people didn't think it was that good a grape until they started making serious wines with lower yields, because most of the wines were made in the co-op for a long time, and now they've broken out, and they've got these old vines, and Treixadura is turning out to be a really nice wine. It's maybe it's a little bit reminiscent, John, of Orvieto or something like that, but it's better, I think, in some ways. ¿Y qué más? 60% Treixadura.
De 25 Godello y el resto Torrontés.
25% Godello, little cork in here, and the rest is Torrontés. And ¿cuánto de Torrontés? 10%. 10% of Torrontés, which is a fairly rare grape in Spain. It's much more prominent, I think, in Argentina, and you don't see much of it, but it's starting to come out with all these native grapes in Galicia. Now it's starting to come out in some of the wines, and so you're seeing these elements, different minority grapes in a lot of wines.
No es la misma variedad, el Torrontés gallego y el argentino, diferente.
Really nice, crisp, has a kind of a melony. ¿Esos son levaduras autóctonas? No.
Son levaduras comerciales que, o sea, que dejen expresar la expresión varietal del vino. O sea, impedir los plátanos y todo esto, pero bueno, los ensayos que hay de levaduras.
¿En cuántos grados?
12,5.
At 12.5%, which is one of the most important things to know about any wine you drink, unless you're a two-fisted drinker. If you're going to drink a wine that's 15%, you can just about figure you're drinking a liter of wine for alcohol content. A regular bottle that holds 3/4 of a liter. If you drink a wine that's 15% in a bottle like that, a regular bottle, you might as well be drinking a liter of wine. And nobody talks to people about that these days because the marketing of wines and the sale of wines, and they claim it's because of climate change, but it's really because they want to jack up the alcohols in most cases from overripe grapes to impress a few reviewers who will go unnamed here, but you know who they are. So, in any case,
name it.
Robert Parker being the king of the monster palates. But anyway, in my opinion, this is all in my opinion. It's not Devour TV's opinion, it's in my opinion. But wines that are that high in alcohol, sherries, for instance, 15, 16, 70%, but you drink them in smaller glasses, smaller sips. If you really want to drink wine, you get a wine that's 13 and under, and you can drink a lot of it with more or less impunity. And those wines get better in the third glass, while those wines are 15%, 15.5, and even barbaric 16%. Tend to go downhill and taste worse in the third glass than it did in the first sip. But you won't get to the third glass most of the time with wines like that. It's better to split those kinds of wines with 4 people. But a wine like this, well, you saw last night, we were just sitting there, you know, having a pretty bad pizza, and we ran through parts of 2 bottles of a wine like this with no problem. You know, you don't even feel it. It's like the beverage that accompanies the meal. If you really want to drink, I got a margarita recipe for you that you won't believe. Get yourself a martini and drink, you know, if you want to get drunk on wine. I can think of better ways. It's 9:40 in the morning, and now we're really getting breakfast underway with octopus, a gorgeous fresh cheese, some ham that he got from the local butcher, and the bread just arrived. We had to wait for the bread to arrive, but it doesn't get here till 9:30, and the bread's still warm. And it's Galician bread, and I gotta tell you, it's really good. Grab this with a little octopus. But unfortunately, Manuel, as the bodega is called, Manuel Formigo de la Fuente, and he's got wines in the United States. And this is Finca Terra and Terra X, which is his highest end wine. And so these wines go incredibly well with this kind of food. But it's just ham, cheese, and of course everybody has octopus handy, so hot bread, straight out of the bakery. we're waiting for the empanada, the classic
Yes.
Galician empanada, which is stuffed with tuna or meat or even zambarinas, baby scallop. And we're waiting for that to arrive, but it hasn't come yet because it's coming from the bakery too, I think. And his mother did the octopus this morning. So breakfast is kind of underway. Nobody has the right to have a breakfast like this in a winery at 9:30 in the morning. It's too good for this company, that's for sure. You find in the world of wine, there are a lot of different basic types, but the basic types that you get that distinguish things in the world of wine are family wineries and wineries that are owned by stockholders. Now, obviously, a family winery, if they have a good palate, they got good taste, and they make the wine that they like themselves, that comes out far different than a wine that's commercially made, more or less. Everybody tries to make wine to sell it because they have to pay the lights and pay their people and all that stuff. But Manuel Formigo de la Fuente, tú trabajas en los viñedos también.
Yeah.
He's a classic and a young guy too. Viticultor, which is a grower and a vintner or a winemaker. Most of the time, these guys work their vines, bring in the fruit, and an enologist comes in and guides the making of the wine. In this case, you've got here an authentic grower winemaker, which sometimes, if they've got winemaking skills, really turn out fabulously well. Burgundy's a classic place where they have a lot of grower winemakers from a long tradition, but Manuel makes the wine here as well, and it's to his taste, you know, which I think you could say is pretty good. So that's one of the things you look for. The other thing you look for is if they own or control their own vineyards, and it's better if they control their own vineyards, which sometimes are older vineyards, but this whole thing about old wines, it's been the rage for the last 10 or 15 years, that's fine, but they're very low yields. You can't make a lot of money unless you price a wine really high, and that's in an age when you price concentration and extraction over everything else. The truth is, some of the best wines you can have are made from 20, 25-year-old vines that produce enough wine, don't overproduce wines, but sometimes the older vines produce a kind of reduction sauce, and then some people macerate it for 30, 40, 50 days on top of that, and you just get this kind of ink, you know, that it gets to be too much of a good thing. So the vines here, ¿cuántos años tienes los viñedos aquí?
I am very young. I am 29 years old.
No, but los viñedos.
My father, my grandfather, my grand-grandfather, de la familia, o sea, de mi padre y mi madre, fueron los únicos que no emigraron hacia el extranjero.
They're the only ones in the family that didn't immigrate to abroad. ¿Dónde fueron nosotros?
Por mi padre Argentina y por mi madre Venezuela, Panamá.
They went to Venezuela, Panama, and Argentina.
Y los únicos que se mantuvieron trabajando siempre en el vino pues fue la familia.
His family, the only one that stayed here and continued to work the vines. The rest of them immigrated because they couldn't make a living.
I don't have. I'm going to. There is no place here. I'm going to put.
Oye, bájalo un poco.
Está de carne. Opa. Opa.
¿Es de carne, no?
Sí.
Pretty amazing specialty.
Get John there over.
But the woodwork